Right now, the Kelowna condo market is interesting to say the least. We have a record number of inventory on the market right now, but how are prices and sales actually reacting to this increase in supply? So I'm going to dig into the condo numbers here in this video, starting with the prices. So the overall market stats for the condo market here, this is as at the end of July of 2024. So let's start just with the peak of the market, which was in March of 2022. The market peaked out at 556,000. That's for what we call the benchmark price, which is the price of a typical condo here in Kelowna, and that would get you a 2-bed, 2-bath right now. And now, starting with the green line, we have 11% down since the peak all the way down to July of 2024. So we're sitting at about 493,000 for the typical condo here. And if we go back up to the peak, you take that blue line down, the absolute bottom of the market since the peak was last summer, September 2023. And I put the flames there because that was when the Kelowna or the West Kelowna fire started. So there wasn't a lot of sales here to draw from. So that drove that benchmark price down. Who knows where it would be? It might be more on par here, might be a little bit closer to 500, but nonetheless, we did have those fires and the market's dip was at 483. And lastly, the red line, comparing it to where we're standing right now. So July 2024, sitting at 493. We take that line all the way back. You're in about December, January of 2021. And just a bit of historical data here. So if you bought last year, the benchmark price was at 517,000, and we've dropped off about 4.5% since then. But if you've owned a condo for about 3 years, the value has gone up about 12%. And if you owned for 5 years, it's gone up a whopping 40%. And that's simply due to what happened in 2020, 2021, and then 2022. Now, carrying on with the stats here, we're going to take a quick look at the year-to-date prices. So since January, we've had kind of a roller coaster of prices since then. We actually dropped off $20,000 from February to March, and then it slowly creeped its way back up over 500,000. That's kind of where we sit, just under the $500,000 mark right now. Now, if we take a look at the market share for each property type, so condos are sitting at about 25% of the overall market and listings that are available right now. But in the next 5 years or even less, there's 2,000 new condos coming on the market. And right now, single family homes have the majority market share of listings right now at 50%. And just in Kelowna alone, there's around 1,000 single family homes for sale. And the total central Okanagan area, that's Peachland to Lake Country, is about 1,600 single family homes. Now let's dig a little deeper into the stats for July. So sales for July, we had 117 sales. That's down about 6% since this time last year. And the benchmark price, again, 493,000, down about 4.5% since 2023. Now, days to sell is an interesting number. So there's a little story I need to tell here. So the advertised days to sell is 53, which is up about 14% over this time last year. But I dug into every single sale that happened in July just to see what the real days to sell are. And it's about 80 days. Now, there's a huge difference because that the 53 doesn't include the cumulative days on market. So what happens sometimes is a listing agent will list a home, and you can see in this example here, this home, or this condo, was listed in March for $449,000. It sat on the market at that price for 45 days. Then they canceled it. Then they relisted it the next day for $399,000, and it officially sold 15 days later. So that property there sat on the market for 45 days, and then it officially sold 15 days later after it was relisted. So it had a cumulative days on market for 60 days, but the recorded number would have been 15 days to sell. And the reason I wanted to bring this up and break down those numbers is because if you are a seller right now, or you're thinking of selling and you're being told the days to sell you can expect to sell your condo on average in 53 days. It's actually closer to 80 days. And now the list to sale price ratio is sitting at 97%, meaning that if you are a seller right now, you and the buyer are negotiating 3% on average off of your final list price. And inventory, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, it has absolutely skyrocketed. It's jumped about 37% since this time last year, but sales are way down since this time last year. So that goes again into the days to sell. So it doesn't make sense that we're sitting still at 53 or, an increased number of days to sell, which does make sense, but it's certainly a lot higher than 14%. Just because of the example I just showed there. And the months of inventory, we're sitting at 7 right now, it's actually just under 7, which is putting us into a buyer's market, but we're bordering the balance to buyer's market right now. Buyers haven't returned yet, but the inventory just keeps going up. And lastly, I picked this next video just for you.